Okay, it's Roger. I have a lot of research on this. Goes back many years. I've talked to many people about these things. This is what happens in a sinkhole when you lose the fluids in the earth. The fabric of the earth, which is not very thick, collapses, and it can cause extreme reactions, which you will see now. All right, listen to this. This is my point.
That was just sent over a couple of hours ago of an airliner out of Brazil that came in contact with a UFO that actually caused some very noticeable damage to the underbelly of the aircraft.
Okay,
so
it's
check
not a
this out,
UFO.
and we'll talk more in just a second.
Look at this. This is what happened to this plane from, I think it was from sprites. Now, I'm going to show you, they think it was from a UFO. Now, hold on a second. I'll show you what they have to say. You see that? Look at that. Something burnt that in as it was moving fast, because you can see the trailing vapor there. So, well, obviously, so it was as it was in the air. They saw something go under a brilliant light. Now, they thought it was moving a UFO. I think it was a blast from the ground, one of these pulses, and these pulses create sprites. That's the other thing they don't understand. The sprites are not created in the atmosphere. They are created at the earth, and it shoots up the rays into the atmosphere, explodes them, and then these things drop down. I'll show you sprites, because I have videos on that too. I have videos on all this stuff. It's all been unexplained and just missed because you know, whatever I do, I seem to get put into Never Land. I think from a sprite. You see that? Who's reported on that? You ever hear that? No, absolutely not. Here's another one. Mudfossils might be deadly. This is one of my... It's Roger, once again, Mudfossil University, on the trail of the unexplained and explaining it. These are sprites. These are... Now, you see this down here? That's where this thing originated. It comes up like this with a tremendous and unbelievable amount of electrical discharge. That electrical discharge impacts with the excessive negative charges that are in the atmosphere, and they force into each other's region. They explode. They literally come up like cannonball. Look at them. You see these little fibers going up? Let's see if I can open this up. No, I can't. Well, I can do this. I'm a pretty tricky guy. Now, look at this. It's just obvious what's going on here. This is the key. This is what kills me. Hold on, I gotta find my pointer. All right, there we go. All right, they're coming up from here. The pulse is coming up from here. It's smashing into this layer of the atmosphere. What is there? I don't know specifically, but it's probably moisture and so forth, and there are things that seem to fall out here, actually particles of chunks or something. I don't know what they are now, but you can see the impact is upwards, not downward, and you see the rays going off here and so forth. They say, oh, it just combusts up here and then it goes to ground. No, it combusts up here. It energizes this layer of the atmosphere so severely. There's so many electrons up here now. They say, I can't stay up here. I'm going to make myself go back to ground, and they come down into the air, heading back to ground. That's all it is. And these are sprites. Now, if there was a plane there, how would you like to be in a plane sitting there? Would you like that? I wouldn't. Okay, it's Roger, Mudfossil University. I did a video on sinkholes, and I did a bunch of them a while back, and nobody really paid attention. 503 hits in the last 4 years. Now, I'm going to just play this and listen to it. Here we go. All right, this is from Jonathan Bird's Blue World. It's a program that's on public TV channels, and it's very, very good. And this is about the blue holes of Andros. Now, blue holes are all over the world. They're in the ocean, they're on islands, they're everywhere. And they are, I believe, part of the Earth's living system. Now, here's what it is. They're going down through and they're diving through these caves. And as they go through it, the architecture and the anatomy is identical to the human digestive system. All right, now I'm going to play this so you can see what's going on here.
And it's a lot deeper than you might imagine. Periodically, Mike turns to make sure we're still here.
Okay, pay attention to this. This is the
The
digestive
bottom looks
system.
like it's sand, but it's actually a deep layer of silt. While Tim hovers high above the bottom to keep from kicking up silt, I perform a little experiment. Down on the bottom, I plunge my arm into the silt up to my shoulder, and it's even deeper than that. This is a layer of decomposing leaves and other organic stuff. The decomposition creates hydrogen sulfide, a deadly gas that smells like rotting eggs. The water is saturated with hydrogen sulfide, and I can smell it in the water that seeps around the edge of my mask. Wow. Described as spooky.
Alright, now check this out.
We
They're
make
coming
our
out
way
of this
right
blue
up the
hole.
fissure into the blue above.
Now, deep in the blue hole, I
I mean,
believe
an
is the...
ocean.
Alright, I'm running my mouth on this thing. I'm just gonna... No, I guess I'll let my mouth run. What they're doing is going through the intestines and everything, and they're going to have mucus. You're going to see mucus excreted. You're going to see the flushing of the system through the high tides. It's a living organism. Here goes.
Blue hole formed just like an inland blue hole 20,000 years ago during an ice age when the ocean levels were much lower.
Speculation.
Once the ocean levels rose, this blue hole ended up underwater.
That's the theory. Now check this out. This is...
But this blue hole connects through
This is
a
a
vast
digestive
labyrinth
system.
of caves to the inland blue holes. And as we emerge into the open ocean,
The other thing I want you to remember about this is you're going to see a halo. I think they call it a haline layer, which is salt, and then the salty layer, and then right above it is a clear water layer. I believe it's in this video. I'm not sure, but anyway, we'll watch.
something looks weird. When the tide goes out, all the water from inside the caves gets sucked out into the ocean, bringing with it silt and hydrogen sulfide from the inland blue holes. It forms clouds near the bottom with a distinct line between the clear ocean water above and the silty hydrogen sulfide layer below. What you're seeing here are the decomposing remains of forest vegetation which have passed entirely through the caves and out into the ocean.
You're looking at poop.
Everywhere I find what look like strands of mucus floating in the water.
They don't look
it's
like
most
it,
likely
they are.
mucus secreted by the coral in response to the caustic hydrogen sulfide.
Not.
It's
That's
stuck
coming
on
from
everything,
the gut.
including this gorgonian, which has closed all its polyps to protect itself from the
It's called
hydrogen
mucus
sulfide.
membranes are secreting that.
As the time
See that? I just did a video on mucus membranes. You know, I'm telling you. I mean, what can you say? How can you miss this?
carries the toxic water away, the corals will go back to normal.
All right, this is an article about blue holes by a lady here, Brianne Kirby. Fabulous article. You should read this. This is a virtual, and she actually says this. She feels like she's a capsule floating through a human digestive system, all the way from the mouth to the anus. Hold on 1 second. I'll read exactly it. Well, you could watch this video. It's up there. It's called Sinkhole Study Part 2 Blue Hole Dives. Yeah, it's on my old, well, it's on my old channel, Mud Space Fossils. Now, what else here? I had a whole batch of sinkhole ones. Hold on, now let me see if I can find something else. You see this? You see how dead-ended they got me? 35 views. That's again 4 years ago. This was when Obama was going to let them drill in the Arctic. I went insane, and I just did these things. And these 35 views are probably from legislators because I sent it to all politicians all around the world actually. And he did end up stopping, not letting them drill up there. Or actually, I guess they said, "Oh, there's not enough oil up there. We're not going to bother." Well, I hope that. This is another nova, and they're talking about sprites, and you see they always originate from here, coming up. Now they think that's starting at a cloud. It's not starting at a cloud. It's starting. All right, this is another thing that they're talking about, right? These sprites are starting to occur, and this I think I understand too. It's collapses of sinkholes. It's atomic compression of the gases in the sinkholes at the Earth. and it's starting from the sinkhole collapses that are coming up. Now, they brought up a point which I am thinking about, and this is speculation, but it makes sense to me, that they seem to see these in a disproportionate amount over the top of extreme tropical storms. Let me show you. I can now. Wait a minute. Hold on, Roger. Stop. Okay, I'll stop. Thank you. All right, now I'm going to show you. This was a time. This is like 4 years ago. I found since then more evidence. Watch this. I say that. Here's what I was saying. That the Earth's surface is nothing more than a mat around the round globe Earth. It's a mat that covers the Earth in a mat. And under that is these holes that are the sinkholes. They are the digestive systems, the lungs, the kidneys, all that stuff. Those are sinkholes. Those are voids in the Earth that are the living creatures that were in the Earth. Now, this thing was still secreting mucus, so I'm saying it's still alive. So there is good living blue holes, but there's a lot of dead sinkholes, and they're collapsing. That's the key. When they collapse, the mat above this huge hole sometimes will drop like a rock. And the gases that are underneath compress and explode because you can't. This is the other thing. I'm doing atomic research, and that is I'm getting killed on that too. Look at this. In 35 hits in 4 years. This is my problem. This is why I get so upset. And everybody's like, oh, the guy's complaining. He's complaining again. Well, look at all the work I did here. 4 years ago, 35 people saw this. That's why I'm upset. All right, now listen. That would create a swirling in the water, probably disrupting or pulling up on the water. Well, I'm just going over the same thing. Let me show you this was Nova's part, but my video here, I only got 35 hits 4 years ago. Well, not quite 4 years ago. There's another one, bubbling hydrogen sinkholes. You should see this one. They found these. Remember this? You see this? They saw all of those holes coming up. These are collapsing sinkholes. So I think it was a volcanic or some kind of a disruption under there that collapsed everything under the ocean, and the whole, it just radiated like this through the glow of the ocean waters. Wow, 755 hits. That's not bad. Now, where do you see this? Well, everybody's seen these gigantic sinkholes. Yeah, think drops like a plug. What do you think is going to happen to the gases in there? You know what gases are in there? Hydrogen. You know what hydrogen is? It's the most combustive, explosive gas in the entire planet. These are methanes and gases and things of decomposition. That plug drops in there, paf-hoom. Now, that's another one back into August. I got real upset when Obama was going to let them drill, and I went insane. I mean, I really did. You know how I can go. Anyway, but this is my problem. I'm getting no exposure. 755 hits. I don't know who even watched that. I don't think many people did. But anyway, let me show you why I say that the Earth's barometric pressure, as it is spinning through the atmosphere of space, of the ether in space, it is compressing our atmosphere. There's 4 different barometric changes every day. Let me show you some. All right, you see this? Whoops. We're going through space spinning like this. The sun is up here spitting stuff at us just like water spitting out of a hose. It pushes this little spot here at 10 a.m. in the morning. It pushes this back as we rotate this way. It makes a wrinkle in our space that they know about. And at 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. it has a dip. And then at 4 p.m. it's swooshing in, compressing here, and as it comes to the other side, it's pushing it this way, and it's decompressing here. They understand this, they just don't understand why it happens. I understand why it happens because of the ether being pushed from our sun. And the particles in here are the magnetosphere. Up here it's 58,000 degrees. Here it's 80 degrees. Why? We're scrubbing through the ether of space. And that's why I get upset at these flat earth people, because they just can't accept what's, and I've shown it a million different ways. If you're blind, I don't care, be blind, but don't attack my work. They're seeing these all over the world, and a lot of them now, these pulses of light. I have no clue what they are. These are literally the photon emissions, electronic emissions of that sinkhole compression, just like it forced a plasma beam to explode out of there. Now this is a smoking gun. I always look for a smoking gun. This is it. I say that it's the compression somewhere here. You see this water spout pulling up on there, and all of a sudden the beam coming out of here, it created a loose spot, and up comes the beam of light. This is another one over here. And they're all over the place. By the way, when I say they're full of combustive gases, they almost never run out of combustive gases. That's been burning for 40 years, I think. Here's another one, Sprite Theory from Nova. I went over this.
Sprite is sighted and the button is released. The previous 3 seconds of footage will be saved.
Now they're going to capture one coming up from the Earth. Watch where it originates. The spontaneous pulse comes from the Earth. Up here. And then you'll see instantly everything above it radiates because see it? It's a spontaneous atomic pulse. How could they miss this? I mean, these are supposed to be scientists. It's a spontaneous atomic pulse. Let me get back. Due to everything above it radiates because then you'll see instantly everything above it radiates because boom, see it? How could you miss it? How could they miss this? Atomic pulse. I'm telling you, these guys are all happy, jumping up and down. Yippee! Sinkholes. Watch. Boom! See it down here? It's down here, not a. Very, very hard to miss that. Now look at all the stuff that's coming down. Look at that stuff. That's scary. Anyway, all right. This is when I actually was not working with, but I was speaking with the Russians about their problems they were having up in, I think it was Kamchatka, somewhere up peninsula up there. It's a disaster now, absolute nightmare. When I was talking to them, I told them it's not going to stop, and it didn't. And there was like 13 of them then. Now there's 7,000 of them. They're exploding. Now here's another one, 708 hits in another 4 years. This was back in August 2015. I sent this to Russia. I sent to everybody in the world. All of this stuff, because I went insane when Obama was going to let them drill. This is when Obama was in office. All right, here goes. All right, this is exactly what's happened up in Russia. This is the surface of the Earth. These are these huge holes that are showing up, and in these holes they have all these little vascular entryways that are in the tube, and they don't understand them. And what they are is these things. They're the vascular blood vessels that are servicing the Earth. I know it sounds insane, but that's what it is. Now, inside that blood vessel, those little things you see, there's some with the snowballs sticking out of them, but that's emanations from the Earth trying to push things out there. That's where the gas comes out for methane gas and fossil fuels. I have all kinds of stuff to show you about this. These are biodigesters. I call them biodigesters. And these are the sinkholes. These are the sinkholes. Once the mat over the top of them is supposed to let all the stuff filter down in there, and then it does all its stuff. Well, all the stuff goes. All that stuff is gone. Poof, it drops. Poof. Inside of there is the atomic gases. Those are atomic gases, extremely volatile gases. And that's what emits those gigantic pulses. Now let's see what else I got over here. I just keep running my mouth about that. All right, now out here, and here's another thing that they destroyed me because I showed Mars. Here goes. All right, I'm not going to dwell on this too much. This is the space crab, and this is all of this dust around here. That's ferrous oxide, and that's from the blood, the rust. I'm just going to tell you what this is. That's the Mars crab. Up there is the vein, which does not have all these little spiky tubes coming out of it. This is the artery, which sends the blood down and sputes blood all through here as it goes down to feed the tissues, which is the muscle of this particular gigantic titan on Mars. This is not on Earth. There is a Mars and all this stuff. And that is the red blood of the artery. And this is the spikes, and they call it the Mars crab. But it is a vein in the artery. It's absolutely undeniable. Now, let's see what we got here. This is the muscle and tissue, and this is blood cells. They're eroding. It's a dust. It's a red, powdery red dust. Now, this is from my stuff here. I have the same things. You see those holes? The same holes, the same powdery red dust on my fossils that I have here. This is in my shop. That's the tendon enthesis, where it meets up with the gluey substance that brings it to the muscle. Let me see what else. I guess that's it. Anyway, I'm going to be going into sinkholes too, but I'd like to be able to get some coverage on this stuff, and it's been, I've thrown a lot of blocks in front of me. I mean, how can you, 708 views, you see what I'm trying to do is actually do some serious, something serious. This is not kittens and stuff like that. Why are people doing this to me? I can't imagine how I could only have 708 hits in 4 years. 0 comments. All right, this goes back to 4 years also. I worked with, well, I didn't work with them, I spoke to Russians about their problem with their sinkholes. And I worked with another Japanese researcher discussing this, and they have terrible problems. They still have terrible problems, worse and worse and worse. This is the Mars crab. It's on Mars, which is out there existing in space, and that is the arterial network that has the artery blood coming out with all of the little blood vessels going in to service the tissues of the body. That is the vein, which is the return black blood that comes back and has no arms going into the tissues because it's just coming back. It slurps it up from the very end and brings everything back primarily. Now, this I did, again, after working with the Russians. I have the same thing here. These are the Mars crabs. If you could look in, well, here you can almost see, well, you maybe can see it. You see that little Mars crab right there? I have the same stuff here. I have the exact same. I have mud fossils for everything there is. See, here's another part of it. See, there's another one up there. These are where the blood vessels were. It's just what it is.